You are not imagining the distance. The quiet way love seems to stand just out of reach. The way affection shows up without announcing itself, then disappears before you can name it. That confusion hurts because you are trying to read warmth in a language that was never taught to you clearly. When you want closeness and receive silence instead, your nervous system does not interpret that as neutrality. It feels like rejection. It feels personal. It feels like something you did wrong. For a long time, people have told you that cats are aloof, that they do not attach, that they tolerate rather than love. You may have heard the same story about yourself, that you are distant, hard to read, independent to a fault. You learned to accept that label because it explained the gap between what you feel inside and what others seem to see from the outside. But labels are often just shortcuts we use when we do not understand something more subtle. A cat does not rush toward connection. It watches first. It memorizes the room. It studies tone, movement, intention. It chooses safety before closeness. That is not coldness. That is discernment. Somewhere along the way, that distinction got lost, and patience was misread as indifference. The same misreading happens to people who learned early that closeness could cost them something. If you grew up in a space where love was unpredictable, where attention came with conditions, or where emotions were loud and unsafe, you adapted. You became alert. You learned to read micro-changes in mood. You learned when to stay quiet, when to retreat, when to disappear into the background. This was not a conscious decision. It was survival written into your body. Over time, that vigilance hardened into a style of relating. You learned that needing too much could be dangerous, so you needed less, or at least you acted like you did. This is how attachment wounds form quietly, not through obvious harm, but through absence, through moments when comfort did not arrive, through times when you reached out and nothing met you halfway. The nervous system remembers those gaps. It builds invisible walls, not to keep love out, but to control the pace at which it comes in. A cat does the same. It does not run toward every open hand. It waits to see if that hand will grab or harm. It waits to see if it can trust. What looks like aloofness is often carefulness. What looks like emotional distance is often emotional memory. Cats show affection sideways. They sit near you instead of on you. They sleep facing away because that means they feel safe enough not to watch you. They slow blink because closing their eyes in your presence is an act of trust. None of this is loud. None of this demands attention, but it is devotion expressed in a language shaped by caution. People who relate like this often go unnoticed. Their love does not perform. It does not chase. It stays, quietly, consistently. It remembers small details. It protects without announcing itself. But in a world that celebrates intensity and constant reassurance, this kind of affection is easy to miss. You may have been told that if you cared, you would show it more, that if you loved, you would reach first, that if you were attached, it would be obvious. So you learned to doubt your own capacity for connection. You wondered if something in you was missing. You compared yourself to others who seemed to bond effortlessly, who expressed emotion without fear. You assumed they were healthier, braver, more whole. What you did not see was the cost of your own restraint, the energy it takes to stay regulated, the strength it takes to feel deeply without flooding, the discipline it takes to love without consuming or being consumed. This pattern often begins in childhood, when affection came with strings, when being too much led to withdrawal, when emotions were dismissed or misunderstood. You learned to self-soothe early. You learned to observe instead of engage. You learned that independence earned you safety. Over time, that independence became identity. You became the one who did not need much, the one who was fine alone, the one who did not ask. But needing less is not the same as needing nothing, and loving quietly is not the same as not loving at all. Cats do not love less, they love differently. Their attachment is selective, not shallow. When they choose you, it is because you have proven yourself safe over time. Their affection grows through repetition, not intensity, through presence, not performance. There is a reason cats return to the same spots, the same routines, the same people. Consistency calms them. Predictability builds trust. Humans with similar attachment patterns crave the same thing, even if they do not articulate it. They need emotional environments that do not spike unpredictably. They need relationships where closeness does not come with chaos. They need to know that affection will not turn into obligation or punishment. What looks like emotional distance is often emotional pacing, a way of staying within the window of tolerance. When closeness feels overwhelming, the body pulls back, not because it does not want connection, but because it wants to survive it. This is not failure, this is adaptation. This is a nervous system doing its best with the information it was given. The myth of the aloof cat persists because we tend to measure love by volume, by how loudly it announces itself, by how much space it takes up. But some forms of love are quiet by necessity. They learned that being seen too clearly once led to loss. So now they love from the edges. They stay close enough to care, far enough to feel safe. Healing does not mean becoming louder. It does not mean forcing yourself into expressions that do not fit. It means understanding your language of affection and honoring it. It means recognizing that your way of attaching protected you when you needed it to. And that protection deserves gratitude, not shame. For cats, trust builds through thousands of small moments. A calm voice, a gentle presence, a respect for boundaries. Humans heal the same way, not through dramatic breakthroughs, but through repeated experiences of safety, through relationships that do not rush, through being allowed to come closer at your own pace. You are not distant. You are discerning. You are not cold. You are careful. Our affection does not shout because it learned to whisper to survive. And whispering love is still love. There will be people who never learn to hear it, who mistake your stillness for absence. Let them go. There will also be those who notice the way you stay, the way you listen, the way you remember, the way you show up without needing credit. Those people will feel the depth of your attachment without needing it explained. A cat choosing to sit in the same room as you is a form of devotion. A person choosing to stay emotionally present without demanding control is the same. Both are saying, I trust you enough to share my space. That is not aloofness. That is attachment built on safety. You do not need to become someone else to heal. You need to understand who you already are. Your nervous system learned a careful way to love. With time, patience, and safety, that love can stretch, it can soften, it can come closer without fear, but it will always move in its own rhythm. And that rhythm is not broken. It is wise,